Welcome to this week's episode of Jet Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper, aka the Jet Lag Guy. Air Canada has selected the Airbus A350-1000 as its new flagship jet. It's the largest twin-aisle plane in their fleet, with circadian rhythm-friendly lighting to support travellers against jet lag. And staying in Canada, Air Canada is also reporting a surge in international travel. Due to current political tensions between Canada and the United States, business travel is diversifying to other destinations, particularly Europe and China. Chief Commercial Officer Mark Gallardo told analysts, quote, "We're seeing a lot of corporate demand growth in the North Atlantic, seeing almost a 30% increase in the amount of corporate traffic going to Europe and the Pacific, and we attribute part of that to the fact that Canada can diversify trade corridors." Also, Canadians have been choosing to avoid travel to the United States from the North Atlantic, seeing almost a 30%, instead booking holidays to international destinations in Europe and Latin America. Sverre Guscik, the managing director of Webjet at the Web Travel Group. The company filed what they thought was a fairly routine notice to the ASX, stating that, quote, "The special delegation of the Balearic Islands of the Spanish Tax Agency has commenced an audit of its Spanish subsidiary in respect to direct taxes." Market panic ensued, with web travel shares crashing 41% to an 11-year low, wiping hundreds of billions of dollars off its market valuation in the process. The current situation with corporate travel management was very much front of mind, and unfortunately, web travel paid the price.
The big news in research is the possibility of a new drug, currently called MIC628,
which has linked sleep quality to the gut microbiome. In a study of 6,941 participants, the researchers found, quote, "While changes in species abundance are largely a consequence of sleep behavior, certain species may mediate diet's influence on sleep. For example, they found that a couple of Clostridia species appear to mediate the effect of coffee intake on social jet lag." And over to the United States. Are you worried about your teenager sleeping in? According to a study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders, with data from 1,087 people aged 16 to 24 years, sleeping in on the weekend is a good thing. The researchers found, quote, "Late adolescents and young adults with weekend catch-up sleep had 41% lower odds of daily depressive symptoms compared to those without weekend catch-up sleep." And staying in the United States. Having said just that, there is such a thing as too much sleep. Regularly sleeping more than 9 hours a night can not only increase your risk of various mood disorders or metabolic issues, but it can also mess up your circadian rhythm. However, the occasional lie-in or early night isn't going to cause any issues, and that includes weekend catch-up sleep. Staying in the United States, the latest product biohackers are using for longevity is nicotine. Yes, the compound found in cigarettes that makes them so addictive and causes cardiovascular problems. Dave Asprey is a biohacker recommending nicotine, but with a couple of caveats. Firstly, it's a very low dose. Secondly, ingest nicotine through, quote, "a clean lozenge or patch, usually 1 or 2 milligrams, roughly 1/10 of the nicotine in a cigarette, and never smokes or vapes." So no, he's not sneaking a few doughies out the back of the building. I haven't seen any evidence of this yet, but I am keeping an open mind about this. And now, over to Australia. There are some treatments for jet lag that I recommend, and there are some not so much. Firmly under the not so much banner is hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is useful and a well-established treatment for radiation injuries from cancer treatment and other wound healing. However, it doesn't come without risks, especially outside a hospital setting. Firstly, there's the risk of fire. If you remember your high school chemistry, oxygen supports fire, and especially if there's electrical equipment or lithium batteries present. There were 2 deaths due to fire in hyperbaric oxygen chambers in 2025, one of them a 5-year-old boy who was receiving it for autism and hyperbaric oxygen therapy is not a recommended treatment for autism. The other problem is if the hyperbaric chamber is used normal air instead of oxygen. Air is approximately 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen, among other gases. If the hyperbaric chamber is released suddenly, a lot of dissolved nitrogen is released from the bloodstream, resulting in a condition called the bends, something that deep sea divers suffer from if they're brought to the surface too quickly.
And over to sport. The big sporting news at the moment is the Winter Olympics.
And our performance is linked to jet lag. I wrote an academic paper about it. As at the time of recording this podcast, Australia has won a total of 5 medals: 1 bronze, 1 silver, and 3 gold. This is a fantastic performance from the Australia team, especially overcoming the jet lag to Italy. Finally, famous artist Tracey Emin was interviewed for The Guardian, and it turns out she's a night owl. Quote, Emin is a magnificently late riser. The average working day, her studio manager Harry tells me, runs from about 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. It's refreshing to see someone being acknowledged as a night owl and very successful in their field. And remember, night owls experience jet lag differently to morning larks. If you have any questions or want to know more about what I do, check out my website at www.jetlagguide.com.au. There's another book on the way. Yes, it is coming, and you'll be the first to know when it's released. And that's this week's Jet Lag in News. I'm Steve Jasper, aka the Jet Lag Guy. Thank you for watching.